Hello, I'm Jill Urbach, and you're in the right place for Hallmark Christmas movie reviews. Today we're talking about Christmas Waltz. Now, I confess that I approached this movie with a healthy amount of skepticism. Was this just going to be another one of those movies where we're supposed to suspend our disbelief and go with the fact that the Hallmark star is some expert in whatever, in this case, ballroom dancing? Well, we will definitely talk about that. We'll also talk about other classic elements in a Hallmark movie. We'll discuss the meet cute, my favorite secondary characters, the wardrobe of the movie, my nitpicks and what I think is noteworthy, where it falls on my personal Heartstring Meter, and my overall rating for the movie. Let's get started. Here's the synopsis for Christmas Waltz. A woman dumped by her fiancé a month before her storybook Christmas wedding decides to take the series of ballroom lessons intended for her wedding dance. Well, I enjoyed the unique concept on this one, but I think the whole setup provided some challenges to the relationship building, and I'll get to that. Lacey plays Avery, who's a workaholic lawyer who is engaged at the very beginning of the movie and very quickly is no longer engaged, and we get to witness the dumping. It's kind of brutal. Will Kemp plays Roman, who owns a ballroom dance studio in New York City. Our meet cute was really just a blip. Avery goes to the dance studio in person to reserve her classes because no one ever answers the phone and she doesn't want to leave a message. So she shows up and this cute little kid, Nicky, is running the front desk and it's his first time working. He's the son of one of the dance instructors and he's trying to upsell to a series of 10 lessons and Avery only wants like 2 or 3. And Roman happens to walk through because he's leaving for the day and he pipes in that, oh, you should listen to Nicky, he knows what he's talking about. Avery, of course, assumes that Roman is a student and she goes ahead and books the classes. As meet cutes go, it didn't establish any connection or hint of attraction between the two, which wouldn't have been appropriate for Avery, obviously, because she was engaged. But Roman, at least, could have had a little twinkle in his eye, like, hey, she's pretty, and we got nothing. So it was sort of a meet and not really cute. Let's see how many boxes we can tick off on our Hallmark Christmas movie checklist. If you do not have your own copy of the Hallmark Christmas movie checklist, go ahead and click the link in the description below and you can sign up to get your free download. So we all know that Hallmark likes their snowy locale, and this takes place in New York, so yes, we had a snowy locale. As far as traditional Christmas family activities that people would do, picking out a Christmas tree, no, they did decorate the tree. Baking Christmas cookies, sleigh or carriage ride, they did go Christmas shopping. Wrapping presents, opening presents, playing in the snow, and yes, that ended up with Roman in the hospital with a concussion. Family dinner at Roman's house. Putting lights on the house, no. Enjoying a cozy hot drink, they refer to it, but we don't actually see them like sitting and connecting over cocoa. But we know they do because it's Hallmark. Cooking or baking together, Roman and Avery get to do a little bit of that in Roman's mother's kitchen at their Christmas party. Ice skating, no. Making a gingerbread house, no. Community events, I had none of the community events checked except for the dressy holiday event, which of course was the final performance. And there were not any moderate faith elements, no hint of magic, and no time travel. Now, my favorite secondary characters, big shout out to Nicky, played by J.T. Church. He was just this precocious, go-getter little kid, kind of sassy, and boy was he a fantastic dancer. Avery's best friend Molly, played by Katrina Reynolds, and she was just a good sounding board for Avery and was not going to let Avery wallow and pine over David, who didn't deserve it at all. And then speaking of David, who is played by Jeremy, oh, I was going to look up how to say this, I don't know, Guibault, if you're French, maybe? Guilbaut, Guilbaut. I doubt that's it. Anyway, I couldn't stand that character, but I wasn't supposed to like him. Like the first moment when they're picking out their wedding cakes, and he's so obviously not engaged. So I didn't like that character at all, but I guess I should acknowledge it because that was the whole point. But boy, was he a jerk. I loved the wardrobe in this movie. Avery's wardrobe was fabulous. She had a feminine style which fit the underneath of her character. She's this hardcore lawyer, but she longed to dance, right? So all of her work clothes all had a feminine touch, but at the beginning of the movie they were much more tailored and definitely body hugging. Like you couldn't dance in any of her dresses. But I loved the various necklines and things that she had. And then as she got into the ballroom dancing, she still had an elegant, classy wardrobe, but they were a little softer, a little more flowy, which was good because then she'd have her dancing lessons and had to be able to move. Her coats, like all the Hallmark 2020 coats, were fabulous. I noticed she had 2 of the same coat in 2 different colors, and this coat has also been in 2 other Hallmark Christmas movies. One of them was it was just a classic shawl collar coat with one side had like this gold trim on the collar. She had it in raspberry and in teal, and they were stunning. We saw the same coat worn by Ashley Williams in Never Kiss a Man in a Christmas Sweater in light blue. And then I believe there was a cream color one in another movie, and I don't remember which one it was. Maybe Timeless Christmas? If you know what other movies this style coat has been in, let me know in the comments below. And Avery's ball gown at the end of the movie was perfect. Of course, she had to be wearing the perfect thing to be called last minute onto the stage to dance. But it was elegant and Christmassy and flowy. And I also really liked Molly's dress. And I loved when she showed up at Avery's house and Avery wasn't dressed yet. And Molly's wearing this long black sparkly formal, and she tells Avery she needs to get dressed and she needs to be very dressy because she was teetering on the precipice of being overdressed. A few nitpicks for this movie. At one point, Molly brings over a Christmas tree because she insists that Avery needs a tree, and they make all these references to the tree as if it's real, and it's so clearly a fake tree. I'm sure it was another Balsam Hill tree, which are beautiful, but don't try and say it's real, because it's not. And then speaking of fake, when Roman is at the doctor's office and he's hooked up to the heart monitor, it was ridiculous how fake that heart monitor looked, like a cartoon screen. And then it annoyed me that people just kept wandering into the dance lessons. Like, I used to take dance, my daughters both took dance, and people weren't allowed to just wander in the middle of a class. Even if the class is about to conveniently wrap up, people don't just wander in. That's rude. Wait outside the door and look through the window. In the movie, there's this really sweet and fun dance scene that kind of harkens back to the old Hollywood classics like Singing in the Rain, and Roman and Avery are dancing down the street, and it would have been charming. But seeing as the last time Avery and Roman were out on the street in the snow and he slipped and fell and got a concussion, I couldn't enjoy the scene because the whole time, every time he'd kick and dance and turn and skip and all that kind of stuff, I was just worried he was going to slip and fall. And then after it's established that Avery and Roman are having feelings for each other, and David comes back into the picture, and he's still a jerk, but at one point she's sitting in her office staring at the roses that he's given her as if she's still conflicted. And you wonder, why are you even conflicted? He's a jerk. Anyone can get you flowers. Noteworthy, Lacey Chabert, I gotta hand it to her. First of all, her acting. She's a good actress and does a really nice job in this movie. In the breakup scene, she actually has a real tear. And there are other parts where she is agitated or frustrated, and she just does a really good job of making that natural and believable for her character. And then I gotta hand it to her. She danced. Now, the movie did a good job establishing early on that she had danced as a kid, but she was not known for her natural ability. So they already set us up not to think that she was just gonna become this amazing dancer after 1 or 2 classes. But they did show the progression, and by the final dance, she really did a lovely job. You can see in the pictures just their form and movement. Well done. I'm sure that took a lot of work. So if anybody asks Lacey Chabert, so you think you can dance? She has earned the right to say, yes. Yes, I can. And speaking of dancing, that little Nicky I mentioned, there's this scene at the dance performance where he's dressed as a nutcracker and he's dancing with some other kids dressed as toys. That dance was fantastic. Those are some talented kids they got. And I also love the best friend relationship between Molly and Avery. In spite of the fake looking tree, that scene where Molly brings over the tree and they decorate the tree together, that was really lovely to see the decorating the Christmas tree scene, which we see in so many Hallmark movies, to see it between two best friends. Time for my heartstring meter. Now my heartstring meter is purely my physical response to the emotional strings in the movie. This one gets a 2.5 out of 5. My biggest heartstring moment was when Avery and Roman are backstage waiting to start the performance, and Nikki looks over and gives a little encouraging thumbs up to Avery. And that was my biggest moment where I went, oh. So that really kind of says it all. I would have liked there to have been a bigger heartstring moment when Avery and Roman kiss, but when they kiss, it's at the end of their dance, so it's part of the performance. I'm sure we're supposed to think they're swept up and it's unscripted and lovely, but I just sit there and go, there's hundreds of people watching you. And was this kiss planned when the other dancer was in it? Or, I don't know. It didn't sweep me away, but maybe it swept away the audience. So all in all, my overall rating for this movie is a solid 3. It's two nice people who learn to respect and admire one another, but I didn't feel like there was any real connection. Some of it I think harkens back to the beginning of the movie, where we've got someone who, when they meet, she's engaged, and then she's brokenhearted over the engagement, and meanwhile Roman, he's very respectful and doesn't want to take advantage of the fact that here's somebody on the rebound. I don't know. It was believable because they were so reserved. But in a Hallmark Christmas romance, I don't think I want the reserve. I want sparks. And I just didn't see sparks. But the dancing was lovely, and it was a nice, solid Hallmark movie. What did you think of Christmas Waltz? Let me know in the comments below if you think, no, this was way better than 3 out of 5, or if you agree that, it was fine. Or maybe it bored you. I don't know, let me know. Feel free to subscribe to my channel to get alerted of my next Hallmark Christmas movie reviews, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.